Okay, a quick little bit in the shed. As you can see, that voltage is a bit low. I will be sparking the generator tonight, but I've got my Amorphous panels back in, and this is the new cabling. This is all pretty temporal. I've really got to tidy up this board. Started with the old DIN rails for the breakers here. That might not even be the final charge controller, but the point being is that I've got this Amorphous panels in series back connected in parallel with the crystalline ones, and I can use my clamp meter here to determine what currents are coming from what panels quite easily, because you know, this wire here or this blue wire here, that's the current for the Amorphous panels. This here's a couple of 50 watt crystalline, and I say crystalline rather than monocrystalline because that one's actually naughtily combination of a poly and a mono on the same circuit, but it works well enough. But this here is two polycrystalline panels, 80 watt ones I believe, German ones. So I can just group the meter around all three wires and get the total current, and then I can do them individually. And what I'm going to do is measure the total output, write it down on a little table, and then measure the Amorphous output and write it down, and make a note of what the weather was like, you know, what the sky was like during that time. And the theory being is if the Amorphous panels produce better under a cloudy sky, then the ratio, then the total amount of power that they are producing versus the absolute total will vary. But if they produce the same as the crystalline panels under different sky conditions, then there will be no variance. I'm doing it by percentage wise because there's only 30 watts of Amorphous there versus, you know, good 130 watts of crystalline. So naturally the crystallines are always going to produce more power, probably even on cloudy days, even if the theory is true about Amorphous being better. But by doing a percentage, I can basically determine if that percentage starts to slide in favour of the Amorphous panels on a cloudy day and slide away from them on a sunny day, and that will prove to me once and for all whether this theory is true. But it's almost a moot point because there's a couple of problems with Amorphous panels. One, actually getting hold of the buggers. There don't seem to be many around to buy. Not at reasonable prices anyway. Always find I get much better deals on crystalline panels of various types. Two, they certainly take up a lot more space for a given wattage, and I'm already starting to run out of space on my roofs, and so going hard out with a big Amorphous system would be difficult. And three, I haven't actually found them to be the most reliable panels. Like this panel today, of course, was not a broken panel. It wasn't damaged in transit or anything like that. It was a panel that was, up until, I guess, I don't know, it might have failed during the winter, it might have failed before winter, but up until fairly recent times was a perfectly working panel. I purchased it second hand but as new, and it had failed in service basically. And I've had another small Amorphous panel of a very similar construction, but a tiny panel, only about 1.2 watts, fail in service in a very similar way. So for me that track record doesn't look good for the Amorphous ones, whereas the crystalline ones never had one fail in service. And the only damaged ones I've had to repair are the ones that actually were damaged from, like, the glass being smashed, you know. Oh, there was that BP one I bought, but that was over 20 years old, and the fault was there before I put it up, and I fixed the fault, as you can see on one of my other videos. So yeah, even if the theory's true, I mean, it probably means I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not going to be going hard out buying up Amorphous panels. for those reasons that I just presented. I do have another big 60 watt one inside that I haven't installed out yet, and that'll be an interesting one. That's a much more professional one. It's not those plasticky Harbour Freight style jobs. It actually looks like a proper panel. Well, it is a proper panel with, you know, aluminium frame and all that kind of carry on. But I think that's enough. I'm sort of ranting a bit now. I should really go and check the voltages inside and start the generator if necessary and get the fire on. The need for the fire is slowly lessening, but of course we need it to cook anyway. But there you go. So that's day 241.